As you may or may not know, I graduated high school and am now halfway through my university degree. Yeah, I know, time flies. Now I'm not gonna be telling any of my college stories like how one of my classmates found out about my channel yet. But what I will say for sure is that what a goddamn relief it is that my finals are finally over. I swear this semester had me acting like Homelander from that one scene from The Boys. And now that my semester is over, I can finally relax, unwind, and honestly, I want to play Uno. It's been a while since I played that. The only problem I have with it is that, well, all the Uno cards that I have are back in my hometown, and the only one that I have on me right now is this Uno reverse card that I keep in my wallet since 2022. Oh, but Matthew, you know you can just buy some more Uno cards, right? In this economy? So honestly, I have no idea what to do with myself. I mean, what am I supposed to do? I mean, it's not like I can just recreate Uno in Minecraft. Now, in case you've been living under a Dwayne Johnson and don't know how to play Uno or don't even know what is Uno, Uno is a card game where the goal is to be the first player to get rid of their deck of cards by drawing one card out to the discard pile with a matching color or number per round. If the player does not have a card with a matching color or number in their deck, they will have to draw an additional card from the draw pile into their deck. This process repeats until they draw a card with a matching color or number from the pile, lowering their chances of winning the game. But Matthew, I hear you ask, how is the player gonna actually play a game of Uno in Minecraft? This is a utility block. They're special blocks designed to help players essentially create new items in the game. And so my idea is that we're gonna be using a combination of the advanced programming that makes these blocks work, how they behave, and what makes them the block they are today to create an entirely brand new block to play Uno. And because I don't want to spend the next 6 months essentially making a short Marvel movie or a Modern Parent video talking about the entire process of making the block, we're gonna make things easy by just focusing on making it single player. And it's because I don't have any friends to play with. Yeah, meaning that essentially you're playing against a computer like if it were to be an actual player, kind of like solo chess. And now that we have the proper idea, it's time to actually code the mod. The first thing we gotta do is to obviously create the cards, which I already did. However, I also want to add a tooltip for all the cards to say what number it has and what color it is. And will definitely not be a surprise tool that can help us later. And in order to do that, we have to create something called a custom item class file, which basically allows any item to have custom behaviors, like having a tooltip. So now I just gotta create one file for one of the cards, and yeah, it works. Okay, cool. So we got that working. Now all we gotta do is just to do it 39 more times. So, have I done it? No. See, instead of creating new item files 39 times, what we can actually do is just create one file for all of the cards. But Matthew, doesn't that mean that all of the cards will have the same tooltip? Yes, you're right, but not necessarily. See, we can also use something called an if-else statement. Basically, if the statement code detects the right condition, or in this case, the right card, it will give the tooltip within the statement for that matching card. So I wrote an if-else statement for the red 0 card, so if we check the other cards, they won't have the tooltips. And if we check for the red 0 card, boom, it has the tooltip. Awesome, so I got one if-else statement done. Now all I just gotta do is to do it 39 more times. So, did I do it? No. Instead of writing if-else statements that detects every single card 39 times, what we can actually do is write it so that instead of detecting the cards themselves, it detects the colors and number of the card itself. But Matthew, how is that possible? Well, it's not actually detecting the color and number itself. It's actually detecting something called a tag. You can think of it as a way to easily categorize items and blocks in the game, like logs, tools, ores, flowers, colored wool, and other stuff. So let's say if we make a tag specifically for green colored cards, the mod will only give a tooltip if it detects a card that has a green colored tag, or in this case, if the card is green. And if we make a tag specifically for cards with the number 3, the mod will only give a tooltip if it detects a card that has the number 3 card tag, or again, in this case, if the card has the number 3. And all we gotta do now is to write the statements for all the 4 colored tags and all the 10 number tags, and yeah, it looks like it works perfectly. Now we can move on to the actual block. The first thing you gotta figure out is okay, I know it looks kind of weird, but it's a process, okay? It's a process. I know it looks stupid, but it's still a process. The first thing we gotta figure out is how to make the block automatically give us 7 random cards whenever we start the game. My working idea right now is that if the player, I'm reusing the Kato GUI right now. It's a process, okay? It's a process. We're not gonna actually use this. Okay, again, so my working idea right now is that if the player inserts a gold nugget into the slot here, it should give us a random card. Right now I only coded to give me a blue 4 card, so if we try to get another gold nugget. So like if we just keep doing this, and it ate up all of my gold nuggets. So yeah, so the starting sequence does actually kind of work, but we need some way for it to actually give us, 7 random cards anytime when we insert a gold nugget into the slot. The first thing we gotta figure out is how to make the block actually give us random cards randomly. We can do this by running a piece of code that generates a random number within a certain range. So let's say if we set it to a range of 3, it will only generate numbers that are less than 3. So 0, 1, and 2. And we can use that with an if-else statement so that it will only give us certain cards based on the randomly generated number.
Randomly generated.
Okay, so right now the block is coded so that it will give me a blue 4 card, and there's like a 1 in 3 chance that will give me a yellow 5 card. So if we just insert a gold nugget here, we're just gonna ignore this part. So yeah, we have a blue 4 card here, another blue 4 card, and boom, we have there, yeah. So there's like a 1 in 3 chance that we'll get a yellow 5 card. Do it again for demonstration's sake, and yeah, there we go. We have the yellow 5 card. Okay, so we got that going. Now we just gotta make the block actually give us 7 cards each time we insert the gold nugget. Now some of you may think that all we gotta do is just write 6 more of those random number generators and that'll be that. I mean, yeah, sure, it will work, but there is a better option, and that's called a for loop statement. Now from here on out, it's gonna get a bit more confusing, but to make it simple to understand, a for loop will basically repeat executing whatever code it has within the loop a certain amount of time. So in this case, the block will give us 1 blue 4 card, and within the time that the block is supposed to give us 7 random cards, there's a 1 in 3 chance that it will give us a green 7 card. And to visualize it, we're just gonna demonstrate it again. There's 1, there's 2, and there, you see? There, it works. So yeah, it does kind of work, but it's not supposed to actually give us 7 green 7 cards. So let me just check the code again. Okay, so here's my mistake. So what we were actually doing just now is we were generating 1 random number and loop that same number 7 times, meaning that we're getting the same card each time, which is not what we're looking for. So what we are doing now is that within the 7 loop, each loop is going to generate different numbers. So let me just demonstrate it. So if we just... yeah, see, it kind of works now. So let me just do it again. Yeah, so we got 1 and we got 2 this time. Let me just keep doing that again. And yeah, this is exactly what we're looking for. Awesome, so we got the basic function down. Now we just gotta change the range of the number generator to 40. That's basically how many cards we have in the mod. And we gotta copy paste the if-else statements 39 times. So, did I do it? No. Instead of copy and pasting 39 if-else statements to give us certain cards, what we can do instead is make an array. To make it simple to understand, let's pretend this is a 2-dimensional array where the rows represent each color of the cards and the columns represent each number of the card. And the way to access a specific card is to input the index row and index column of the card position in the 2-dimensional array. So we can combine this with 2 random number generators, one for the row and one for the column. And now we can get 7 random cards. So let's just do it again for demonstration. Yeah, 7 cards. Yeah, it's working very, very well. And this is the part of the video where I realized I might have to scrap it. See, while the block does actually give us 7 cards whenever we start the game, actually playing the game is going to be much harder to code because it's going to be difficult for the block to remember what cards we place and what cards it should draw out next. And there's the whole GUI animation we have to do and the draw card palette function. It's a lot of work. And honestly, I don't think I can even finish this. So I guess that's it. Yeah, I guess I should just throw in the towel and scrap this video. No! I've gone so far, I can't just give up now. I started this project and god damn it, I'm gonna finish it. I spent 3 months working on a survey system for a uni programming assignment. I can do this. I may not be the smartest, I may not be the strongest, I may not be the handsomest, but there is one thing that I have that no one, and I mean no one on God's green earth is ever gonna take away from me. My caffeine addiction and my determination. Oh no, wait, that's 2 things. We just need to think outside of the box. We need a different approach. What we need is... like I mentioned earlier, it's going to be more difficult for the block to remember what card we've drawn out and how to process which card it should draw out after. At the same time, we also want it so that when we draw out a card, the GUI will display a visual image of that card until another card is drawn out, which is even more difficult since the GUI needs to use numerical data like numbers to process the coordinates of whatever it wants to render within the GUI PNG file. To solve this problem, we're going to use a reverse approach and represent each card with its own number. So the red 0 card represents 1, the red 1 card represents 2, and so on. And in order for the block to remember, for example, example, a blue 2 card which represents the number 33, we can use the number of the row index and the column index, so goddammit, we can use the number of the row index and column index to calculate the representing number using this equation. So when we input those two numbers into the equation, we will get the number 33, which again represents the blue 2 card. And by coding the block to detect the color and number of the card drawn out using the if-else statements to get the column index and row index respectively, and a bit of math and programming, the block can remember what card is drawn out in the form of a number. And first to calculate the row index and column index, the block can also locate which icon sprite it should render, meaning that whenever a card is drawn out, the GUI will now display a visual image of that card. Okay, that's cool, but how will the block only accept a card drawn out with a matching color or number into the discard pile? Like I mentioned earlier, the block needs the number index and color index of the current discard card in order to display the icon sprite of the card within the GUI. And since we already have a way to detect the color index and number index of a drawn out card, we can just input those detected number index and color index of a drawn out card to a function that checks if either the number index or the color index of the drawn out card matches with at least one of the respective indexes of the discard card. So as long as the function detects that at least one of the two indexes matches, or in this case if the number or color of the drawn out card matches with the current discard card, the block will accept the drawn out card and display the icon sprite of that card as the current discard card. If not, the block will reject the card and return it to the player. Okay, so we got that working, but how will the block know when it's its turn to draw out a card? Before we do this, we need a way for the block to have its own deck of cards so that the block actually has a way to win or lose. But mostly lose. To do this, we're gonna use the same concept for the starting sequence, but this time it will only generate numbers that represent the cards for the block. And by using a one-dimensional array, it can essentially dynamically store as many representing numbers as it wants, like a bottomless Pringle can. Going back to our problem, we can use something called a counter variable. It's basically a variable or number within the code that essentially keeps track of the number of times a function is executed. And we can use it to let the block know when it's its turn to play. So we gotta write a counter adder to functions that let the block know when a card is drawn out. And by writing an if-else statement that detects if the counter variable is an odd number or even number, where the odd number means it's the player's turn and the even number means it's the block's turn, the block can now differentiate whose turn it is to draw out a card. Okay, but how will the block actually draw out a card? Remember the one-dimensional array that I mentioned? Alright, you don't understand programming. Remember the bottomless Pringle can that I mentioned? See, whenever it's the block's turn to draw out a card, it will look through the numbers within the Pringle can. If it detects a number, it can use by matching its color and number index through some fancy schmancy programming. The block will remove the Pringle chip from the Pringle can and eat the Pringle chip. I mean, the block will take away the number from the array and convert the number to its representing card. I gotta stop eating Pringle cans, man. But Matthew, what happens if there's more than one number it can use? How will the block decide? That's a good question. See, making the block always choose the first card it sees won't mimic the same way how real players play the game. Kind of. To fix that, we need to use a second one-dimensional array. When the block determines the number it can use, it will copy that number into that second array. If it detects a number it cannot use, the block will just ignore it and won't copy it to the second array. The process repeats until it's done checking every number in the first array. Once the block is done checking its cards, it will refer to the second array and randomly choose which card to draw out. After a card is drawn out, the second array clears out all its cards as if it never existed, and the block will go back to referring to its original array. But Matthew, what happens if the block doesn't have a number it can use in its first array? Another good question. See, when the block is done checking its deck of cards and can't copy a number into the second array, indicating that it's empty, an if-else statement will execute a function to add a random number into the first array. The process repeats until it has a number it can use. Okay, so I already coded all the functions for the block, so let me just do a demonstration here. So, okay, so a lot of things is happening right now, so I mean mostly this part, but let me try and explain it for you guys. So what you're seeing here is, okay, ignore this part, I kind of messed up with the last recording, so just focus on this one. So what you're seeing here is basically the block's deck of cards. Okay, I know it's cheating, but again, this is basically for demonstration. So as you can see, it has a green 4 card, it has a yellow 5 card, a blue 5 card, a yellow 4 card, a red 2 card, green 9, and a green 0 card. And then when we go back to the block, okay, so you can just like ignore this part. This is basically just to randomize the starting card. It's basically just for fun. And right now, the only card we can draw is the blue 5 card, and when it's the block's turn, it has two choices. It can either use a yellow 5 card or the blue 5 card. So let me just demonstrate it. So we just do it here. It's either gonna choose a blue 5 and a yellow 5. Okay, so let's just go back here. You can see that, yeah, the blue 5 card is now gone, and it now only has 6 cards. And so, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, 6 cards. Now going back to the GUI, it says that the current discard card is a blue 5, and the only card we can use is a green 5 card. And you can notice that the block has 3 options. It can use a green 4 card, it can use a green 9 card, or it can use a green 0 card. So let us just put our card in, and then let's see. It shows a... Oh, I forgot there's a yellow 5 card. Again, it shows a yellow 5 card, and now it only has 5 more cards left. So let's just go back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. But because again, we are not gonna have this basically just for demonstration, this is gonna be our visual indicator of how many cards the block has. And as you can see in the GUI, it currently says that the current discard card is a red card. And as you can notice, in the block stack, it only has green cards. So if we input a red card, theoretically, it will keep on adding cards, yeah, as you can see, until it uses a matching card, which is a red free card. So if we do it again, it's gonna like add more cards until it gets a red free card. Yeah, and so yeah, as you can notice, it works. Then Matthew, what about the actual players? How are they gonna get new cards if they don't have a matching card? Man, you are such a participative viewer today. Good job, my little student. Have a gold star, you little angel. Oh my god, I cannot say that. Why did I write this? My little cousin watches my videos. Well, originally I was gonna create a second slot that constantly outputs a standard Uno card whenever we start the game. And then I was gonna explain that this is essentially any other card but flipped backwards. And I have to write some code that makes it transform to a random card and make another 39 times joke. But then I realized if we were to actually do that, and when we destroy the block, the Uno card is gonna pop out because it was still in a slot, which by itself isn't that big of a deal, but over time, eventually, it still won't be that big of a deal, but it's gonna be very annoying. To fix this problem, we can write a function so that whenever it's the player's turn to draw out a card, the block will automatically scan the player's inventory for any matching cards. If the block detects that the player does not have any matching cards, another function will execute to give the player a random card. The process repeats until the block detects that the player finally has a matching card. And lastly, we didn't wait for the block to know when the player wins or when the block itself wins. To do this, we're gonna use the same concept of the block automatically scanning the player's inventory for any matching cards, but this time it's gonna scan for all of the cards. When the player draws out a card, a function is executed to tell the block to scan for any cards left in the inventory. If the block scans that there is indeed no cards left in the inventory while the block still has some cards left in its deck, the player wins. As for the block, whenever it draws its cards, it will check to see if its deck is empty. If it is indeed empty before the player's deck is, another function will execute telling the block it wins. And after a bit of testing, making sure everything works smoothly as intended, changing the texture of the play table block to make it look more appealing, and getting so many crash reports, please subscribe, this is essentially hell for us modders. The mod is finally complete, and now the only thing left to do is to play a game of Uno. Welcome back, one and all, to the one and only Minecraft Uno Tournament. The rules are simple. Whoever wins this round shall be declared the winner. Are you ready, folks? Then let the games begin! And the game has begun! Looks like we're starting off with a yellow 8 card. Matthew deploys a yellow 5 card, and looks like the block has deployed a 2 card. Looks like Matthew has no choice but to use his red 2 card. What shall the block pull out? A red 0 card! What an amazing move! And looks like Matthew is pulling out... Oh no! Looks like the block is in deep trouble. It appears that it's running out of cards, but never mind, it has gained a red 0 card to counter. But it seems like it's Matthew's turn to suffer as well. It looks like Matthew has no choice but to use his green 0 card. Can the block counter this? Who knows? It is anybody's game. It looks like the block has countered with a green 5 card. What Uh-oh, looks like Matthew's in deep trouble. Looks like the block is about to deplete his deck with only 2 cards left. Will the block win this game? Who knows? Matthew deploys his yellow 6 card. Will this be the matching round? It appears to be a great move from Matthew's part. Looks like the block doesn't have any cards to use. It seems like Matthew is about to win this game, but he doesn't because he's getting more cards. This game is going crazy. And oh no. It appears that Matthew is getting way too many cards than he can handle. It appears that he's not gonna win this game after all. It appears that he got a green 1 card. Will the block win this round? No, it doesn't because it doesn't have any green. And he does indeed use the red 1 card. Will the block be able to discard another card to counter? No, it doesn't, but yes, it does. It uses a red 0 card. This game is absolutely crazy, people. Now, Matthew is going to use a red 8 card. It seems that Matthew here could be the winner of this game. And it looks like the block is about to get more cards until it can find a red card or an 8 card. And it looks like the block has deployed a red 0 card, and Matthew can only use his red 0 card in return to retaliate. And it looks like the block has used a yellow 0 blue card, which Matthew responded with a yellow 5 card, and the blog has responded with a yellow 4 card text, and it appears that Matthew is about to win this game. Will he win it? Will he win it? And he does! Finally! I can stop recording this. I've been going at this for like 20 minutes. I've been spouting nonsense. Oh my god. And that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching and sticking to the end of the video. If you like it, like it. If you don't like it, Uno reverse card. Also, I'm back in my hometown. Matthew, you can afford a flight across the country back to your hometown, but not a box of Uno cards? Yeah, I know, it's crazy out there. The beautiful memories that I made here, making videos, attending online classes during quarantine, and crying from attending online classes during quarantine. Hope this doesn't fall. What life, huh? Guys, I get it. I face reviews. Stop commenting telling me to put the mask back on. No, don't dox me either. Hey, bad internet user. Bad. Don't make me use a spray bottle. Anyways, I am planning to release this mod at some point, and yes, I am planning to make a part 2 to make a multiplayer version and to also add the power cards. So please stop commenting that, oh shoot. So please stop commenting that I forgot to add the power cards. So if you want to get updated on that, you can join the Discord server. I release teasers for future mods, updates, sometimes talk to the community, and occasionally complain about Marvel films. So yeah, again, that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Or maybe when I stream Minecraft Live, who knows. Okay, goodbye.